On May 13, 1959, an unmanned canoe was fished out of the Colorado River near Phantom Ranch. Along with a large amount of food and gear, it included a log document attached to the canoe by a string that indicated that someone had left Lees Ferry a week earlier on an unauthorized solo canoe trip down the Colorado River through the canyon. The last entry was made 2 days earlier. Earl Francis, age 27, was the canoeist. He was an artist from San Manuel, Arizona, who had a checkered past, a convicted burglar. A search by air began up and down the river for Francis. Lookouts on the rim were posted to look for a campfire. The next day, Francis was seen floating down the river at the river bend before Black Bridge in a life jacket, with his dog under his arm, also wearing a life jacket. Four searchers on the shore nearby yelled out. One rushed onto the bridge to let down a rope. Francis, in total control, angled toward the shoreline and he was pulled out by one of the men. He was brought to Phantom Ranch for a nice dinner and was described as being in good shape, despite claiming that he had not eaten for 3 days and spent many hours in the cool water, about 60 degrees. Francis said that he had lost his canoe in Sockdolger Rapids, about 9 miles upriver, as he was pulling it with a rope along from the shore around the rapids. After being dragged for about 50 feet, he let go of the rope. He said,
"I decided to save the dog and let the boat go."
He knew he had to continue downriver to reach Phantom Ranch. He said that he inched his way along the cliffs, but spent most of the time in the water, floating with his dog for 2 days. He stopped for the nights. At one point, he attempted to scale the cliffs, but the dog's mournful barking brought him back. Finally, they were rescued. Francis was allowed to stay at Phantom Ranch. He was then brought up by mule and put up at a hotel on the rim for several days until he recovered as he soaked up the attention. His story was covered by newspapers all over the country. It was puzzling that his canoe had arrived on the river only a half day before he did. He then went back down and hauled his 17-foot, 70-pound canoe up the trail and out of the canyon. None of the park employees offered to help him, and he was not allowed to haul it out during the day when the mules were on the trail. Was it all a hoax? It is speculated that he could have brought his canoe and supplies down during the early morning on May 13th, set it afloat, and then hiked upriver, hid, and waited until the next day to make his entrance, floating in the river. However, that would have been a lot to haul down. A few years later, Francis built an unauthorized hermit house on Forest Service land in the Catalina Mountain foothills, above Oracle, Arizona, at a mining claim. After 18 months of wrangling, the government told him he must go. He said that he would never leave the hills, that he was a pioneer prospector in modern times. On August 15, 1966, he sat on a keg of dynamite a few yards from his home and lit the fuse. Death was immediate. He became somewhat of a folk hero and martyr to anti-government activists. Did he really canoe down the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon?
This video was written and produced by Davy Crockett for the Grand Canyon Historical Society. Visit us at grandcanyonhistory.org. Help us continue to preserve and share the history of Grand Canyon by becoming a member of the Society. Also, use the subscribe button below to receive more videos like this one.